Welcome to Dave's Think Tank. In a previous video, I added this video display to the Flash Gordon. The Flash Gordon really is the perfect pinball for adding a display, with this window plastic almost made for this 2.8-inch screen. I mean, the image depicted on the plastic is actually a scene from the movie where Ming's minions are watching events from the movie on a video screen. I've been thinking for some time that the Vector may just be another case of a perfect opportunity to add a video screen to a pinball. The Vector theme is based around the concept of a futuristic sport with players on roller skates chasing heavy metal balls. Most professional sports stadiums these days have ultra-wide video displays all over, showing the action, the crowds, commercials, and various other entertainment. And this plastic, right here above the hype targets, turns out to be the perfect size for an ultra-wide screen. For the Flash Gordon, I went into great detail on how to set up and add the display. I'm just going to hit the highlights for this project. I'll display the details for you to pause and read, or go to my previous video if you want more explanation. So for this project, you're going to need a Raspberry Pi 0WH circuit board and a Waveshare 5-inch DPI LCD screen. Be sure to get DPI. And the usual bunch of cables and memory devices, a flash drive and a micro SD card. We're going to once again get our video looping software from the German website videolooper.de. Download the latest version and install it on a micro SD card using the imager from the Raspberry Pi website. And now comes the first tricky part. Our Waveshare screen is 800 pixels wide by 480 tall, and this is way too tall for an ultra-wide screen. So my plan is to hide half the screen behind the hype targets and only display video on the top half. But this still isn't wide enough. On top of this, I'm going to tell the screen to display the video I send it as letterbox, which means it will have a black strip across the top and the bottom added to the black strip that's already there, and then tell it to move that up by 60 pixels to eliminate the top black bar. We do this by editing the file video_looper.ini and finding the line near the end of the file that begins extra_args and adding to the end of this line --win 0, -60, 800, 420, --aspect -mode letterbox. Next, we need to set up the operating system to work with the Waveshare screen. To do this, we edit the file config.txt and add a number of lines to the end of the file. These lines can be found in the video description below the video. You can see the setup here is a little different than with the 2.8-inch screen, which plugged directly into the Raspberry Pi. This has a gold ribbon cable coming out of it, goes into this little device. A white ribbon cable comes out of that, goes into this little device, and it plugs directly into the Raspberry Pi. So let's talk about editing the video. The first thing we need to find is movies about futuristic roller skating sporting events. I actually found two, Rollerball and Alita Battle Angel. And fortunately for me, I have the motorball scene from Alita in ultra-wide. So you can see here, fitting ultra-wide into a standard widescreen leaves a black bar at the bottom. And the extra args command we set up earlier will add another 60 pixels of black bar below this to fit it perfectly to our 800 by 480 display. But my rollerball videos and some other Alita videos are only available, as far as I could find, in widescreen. So when I fit them to leave the black bar I need at the bottom, they end up looking like this. You can see I'm left with a big black bar on the side. But this actually creates an opportunity. All those screens in all those sports arenas don't just show the game, they also show the crowd, commercials, scores, statistics, all kinds of things. So the next trick is to find appropriate material to fill in the remaining space. And it turns out this black bar is the perfect size for 3 reduced size widescreen videos. So I found movie, TV trailers, Japanese commercials, crowd scenes, clips from MXC, whatever I thought might fit. You can really get creative with bouncing scenes around the three screens. So let's take a look at what this looks like with a scene from Rollerball. Okay, so this will give you some idea of what I'm going for. This is beside where I want it to be, but you can see it's black below where the height targets are, and the picture is going to appear right here. So now I'm going to try and fit it in. Unfortunately, this is just about a 1/4 inch longer than would be perfect, and it's going to stick out slightly on either side. So I have to protect it somehow. I've got a few things I'm going to work with. I have a piece of metal here that I've pounded down. It sticks out just slightly past the screen. I've got a 2.5 inch rubber which will go around there that I've stretched out. It's actually a bit small. I've got a 3.5 inch rubber which will go around quite easily, and I want it to go around the two posts at either end. And in case that turns out to be too small, I've got a 4 inch, and I've also got a 5 inch if I find a use for that. And I also have this anti-static foam which I can cut a strip and wrap it around. So that's what I have to work with. Next I'm going to open it up and see what works, what doesn't. Well, this is what I've come up with so far. I've taken this off of here. I'm going to have to put it back on. That's going to be tricky. But what I have here is the 3.5 inch rubber wrapped around these two posts, wrapped around the screen. And I've got this pounded metal piece in the back of it, taking the stress of the rubber and hopefully taking the stress of any hits. It sticks out a bit, and I hope it doesn't interfere with play. We'll see. Sticking out a little less on this side. I may be able to center it a little better. Now, yeah, this piece here, I'm going to have to, I've taken it off. I'm going to have to put in a couple new holes, move it back just slightly so that the rubber fits through there. And I've put in a couple of LED bulbs here instead of the regular bulbs to reduce the amount of heat that everything is dealing with. And very fortunately there is a 1 inch hole here which is going to be perfect for the ribbon cable to go down. So now I just have to put it all back together. And I think, yeah, the post goes right here, and I may be able to, the rubber's a bit long, I may wrap the rubber around that post and take up some of the slack. Okay, we'll see what happens next. Okay, I just want to show you what's happening under the playfield. This is going to hang below the table, and I don't want it hanging by the ribbon, so ribbon cable, so I've put in a couple of eye hooks, screw eyes, and attached it with zip ties to that, so it will swing freely down here, and this ribbon will go up through the hole where I will reattach it, and we'll do that next. And this is where it all comes together. This ribbon is coming up out of that 1 inch hole there beside that light, and fits into this. Now these things have a funny little clip on them, so when you put them together, this little black clip just pulls out maybe a 1/16 of an inch. And then this feeds in, and I put a little mark there to make sure I get it lined up in the right direction. I put a little mark there to make sure I get it into the right depth. And then you push those clips back in that 1/16 of an inch. There. Okay. So that hopefully is holding well, and I have to figure out how to put the plastic back on here, fit everything in, fit a couple of bolts down through there, but we'll try all that and get back to you. Okay, so this is it. It's in. I don't think it looks too good what you're watching, but to me it looks beautiful. And don't hit the flippers while you're filming. This is a bit of Alita. And you can see it's got a shiny surface here that it's reflecting off of, so you get kind of a double size to it. Even though we've cut it in half, this doubles it. And here's a bit of roller ball, and you can see I've put the Addams family in there. And if you have a vector, you'll understand why I put the Addams family in there. It looks pretty good. I'm thinking the reflection is a little confusing, so I put all of the side videos toward the bottom. I think I'll move them towards the top so that they're not sitting right on their reflection. But other than that, I'm thinking it looks pretty good. Okay, so everything is all set up. All I need is somewhere to plug this in. So what I plan to do, I'm going to install this so that I can plug that in. I'll install this right here on the side. There are yellow and blue wires running from the pinball switch to the transformer, and what we have to do is cut into those, and the yellow wires will go on the gold, blue wires will go on the silver. We'll also put in a ground wire from these posts to there's a bolt here holding the power module down. That is actually grounded, so we will attach to that, but once I'm done I will show it to you. Oh, one more thing. I went over all this in my other video, but this is fairly important. This is a great way to attach stranded wire. What you do is you cut the wire and about 1 inch in, and then you pull it back about 1/2 inch, and then you have this connected like that. You twist it until until the braids are not coming apart, and then you can just wrap it around this post here and hold it tight while you tighten it. Anyway, I'm going to do all that, and I'll get back to you. Okay, my new power outlet is installed. It is good and solid in there. The display and Raspberry Pi are plugged in here. The blue and yellow wires go in there, as well as a ground wire is connected to this this bolt on the power module. And the blue and yellow wires were cut, and so they continue on the other side and come over to the transformer. And it's working beautifully. I just wanted to show you that the rubber wraps around the post under there and comes up. It does not even touch the display. It goes around the hammered piece of metal that I've put in there. And same on the other side. So the display is well protected. A ball should never get near it. And I've tried whether the balls can get stuck behind here, and they cannot. So everything is good. I do have to decide if it's interfering with play at all. I don't think it will. And if it does, it's probably just another obstacle on the playfield. But yeah, time will tell. Oh, and why do we have the Addams Family? Here it is. If you've had problems getting any of this to work, I'll leave some helpful links in the video description below. Also, I gave this warning in my last video, so I'll repeat it here. Keep copies of everything you downloaded for this project, in case it's no longer available online when you need it. And take a screen print of the instructions I've been displaying throughout this video as well. Maybe print them and keep them with your manual. Something is bound to happen 5 or 10 years from now, and you'll be glad you did. The internet is constantly changing, and there's no reason to believe that any of this information will still be there or that any of it will work the same way it does now. And be sure to copy it all onto the USB drive where the person dealing with the problem will be sure to find it. Also, in my last video, I hadn't figured out how to hook the Raspberry Pi up to Wi-Fi. I figured it out now, but I'm not doing it myself, and so I'm not getting into the details here. The thing that convinced me not to go ahead was, since I have to use a years-old version of the operating system, it'll be missing years' worth of security updates. And I'd feel pretty stupid explaining to the wife that someone hacked into our computer through the pinball machine. Okay, that's all for today. Let's play a game. Just playing with some of the settings, seeing if I can get it to look a little better. The darker scenes seem to turn out a little better, so yeah, when they're showing the white track, it looks terrible, but yeah, hopefully you get some idea of what it looks like.
Vector. I am a play analysis computer for your vector game plan. Take a down. Great shot. Score. Vector. 5. Please die. Take aim, rookie. Vector is down. Shoot for Vector can. Shoot for vector scan. Great shot. Target stormed. Y. Defender. Defense in position. Defender. Y. Y. CT rookie. Defender is down. Shoot for vector scan. Great shot. Offense released. Shoot for vector scan. Y. Great save. Shoot for vector scan. Great shot. Vector. Y. Defender. Resume play. Shoot for vector scan. E. Y. E. Shoot for vector scan. Shoot for vector scan. Great shot. Target stormed. Y. Take aim with the defender. Take aim with the Great shot. Hey. Please. Why? Why? Take aim, rookie. Defender. Great shot. The showers.